Right now in front of me I have the entire line of Cougar keyboards. This is the 700K, the 600K, and the 500K. This is their flagship. This is kind of a cut down version, and this is a membrane keyed version for people that don't want mechanical switches. Aesthetically speaking, they're kind of like that garish gamer thing, but they're a little more refined, so they look nice. So if you kind of want a more extreme looking keyboard and you're kind of moving away from that super simplistic standard style keyboard, this might be for you. It's not as far as like going super crazy and having rainbow colors everywhere, or having ones that look like Transformers. You know, they're modern looking, they're industrial, but they're really well built, and they have a lot of great features. So let's just jump right in. All right, so here's the 700K. We're going to start with this one. The first thing you'll notice is it's very well built. It's got a really nice aluminum construction. So all this in here is brushed aluminum, so it looks really nice. It's a full layout. It's got numbers and media keys. It's got these M buttons, as they call them, which are either for modes or for macros. You can use them in either function. You have all these G keys and a sixth one over here, which is really nice. It's got a really nice palm rest, especially this little section here is adjustable. So if you want to take this off, you can bring it over here. And they call this the FPS palm rest. And it's magnetic. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. So if you want to use the number keys, you could use that, or like most people are going to be over here and using WASD. Another thing that's really cool about this keyboard is if you look over here in the back, you have a full USB as well as audio pass-through, so you don't have to worry about getting your headphone and mic all the way up back to your computer. You can just plug them right in here. You can plug your mouse in here. An interesting feature about that as well is if you use a Cougar mouse like this one right here is the 700K, you actually have a feature called Cougar Fusion, which lets you basically when you record a macro on the keyboard, you can also record macros or use these buttons as part of your macro sequence. So if you wanted to do M and this does something, you could do it, and you could do it on the fly. It does have onboard memory, so you don't have to worry about losing your macro settings. If you do one, it'll stay on there. It's got a 32-bit ARM processor on there as well. 1000 hertz polling is going to give you a 1 ms response time, so it's very fast. Full N key rollover, and this one is Cherry MX red switches on there, but it's also available in black, brown, and blue. So overall, a really nice keyboard. And another thing that's really nice about it is the lighting. So as you see right now, everything is lit up, but as you change through your modes, see I undid that. You can do different modes, and then if you want to do a custom mode, if you hit the function button and MR, now you can turn off individual keys or turn on individual keys however you want it. So if you wanted to have hold this whole section dark, you can just turn them all off, and then hit function MR, and it'll stay there in that mode. And then if you want to go back to another mode, you can go right back to it. It's also got a lighting button up here. It's going to give you 5 different steps of lighting, which is pretty nice. And you can also make it go back and forth, up and down. You can make it go like crazy Vegas colors. You have a Windows lock key, which is really nice. So you have all these options as far as lighting goes, and it's customizing your setup to the way that you like it, especially if you like just isolating certain keys that you're going to use and getting rid of the crap that you don't. Another thing that's really cool is this repeater. So you have these repeater buttons up here. They're in the F1, F2, and F3 and F4 keys. But if you hit function F1, F2, F3, or F4, it'll give you an indicator light up here, and that lets you know it's going to repeat. You're editing in Premiere, and you want the jog wheel to go much faster as you scroll through your timeline. You can actually use that button, which is really cool. Now it has a 1.8 meter braided cable on the back. It's very thick, and it's not the easiest to move around, but it is very thick, and it'll probably last for a millennia. Which is pretty nice. It does come with a full software called Cougar UIX, and that will let you basically control everything, customize everything. You can get really in depth if you want to, or you can just do simple customizations. It's all available to you. And that's pretty much as far as it goes. This is pretty much the 700K. Now, here's what happens when you go to the 600K. Now, the 600K is very similar as far as the build quality. It's aluminum. It's got the nice palm rest with the FPS attachment on here. Now the difference is that it doesn't have the G keys on the side, doesn't have the M keys on the top, it doesn't have the audio pass through on the back. It still has 1000 hertz polling and key rollover. This one's I believe this is a blue switch. Yep, Cherry MX blue switch is on here. It still has the 32-bit ARM processor, but it does not have onboard memory. So if you save something on here, you customize something on here, which you can't really do it anyway because the keys aren't there, you will lose it when you unplug it. But if you're using the software to do it, then obviously it's going to stay with the computer and it's not going to travel with the keyboard. You can backlight some things, but really you control the backlighting, but really you only have WASD and these keys as far as lighting goes. You can't make the whole thing light up. You still have 5 steps of lighting control, which is nice. You can turn it off all the way, and then you still have media keys and a number pad. Now what happens when you come to the 600, it's basically the exact same keyboard minus a bunch of awesome features. So it sounds kind of messed up, but it's the truth. This is the fully featured keyboard with all these bells and whistles. This is the cut down version. It has none of that, but it still has the amazing build quality, the FPS palm rest. It's still aluminum, still has media keys and a Windows lock. It still has 1000 hertz polling. It still has N-key rollover, and still has a 32-bit ARM processor. You're not gonna be able to save macros. It's basically always gonna look like this, and you're not gonna be able to customize it very much. Still has the 1.8 meter cable, still very thick. Has really nice rubber feet, so it doesn't move. As you can see here, I'm shaking everything, but the keyboard is staying still, and so it ends up being basically the exact same thing, but instead of costing you 170, 160 bucks, it's only 130. If you're a simplist, this is going to be great. I would prefer to have the features because recording macros and onboard memory and all that kind of stuff, it's just useful, and it's only 30 bucks more, so not a big deal. Now, if you are looking for a deal, then this is maybe what you might want. This is actually probably going to be even more for somebody who just doesn't like mechanical switches. This is the 500K, and the thing with this, I'm not sure you can hear that, it's membrane. So it's a membrane keyboard, and a lot of people will be like, oh, membrane keyboards, who the hell uses that? A lot of people use them. People who were using membrane keyboards for years and learned how to game on them still want to do that. They can do that, and that's what this keyboard is designed for. It's a plastic construction, so it's not as nice, but it still has all the other features. It's got the M keys and the G keys and media keys, full number pad. It's just not as fancy, and it it doesn't look as nice, but it is a lot more affordable. Mechanical switches. But anyway, oh, what the fuck is that?